Hi everybody, thanks for coming to STEAM this week. This week we are making Flextangles. So they're just a printable craft that you can cut out and put together, and it's fun and a movable paper craft. So if you have been to the library in the last week, you might have picked up our craft kit. So if you have it with you, then we're going to use that. But if you weren't at the library this week and you didn't pick up our craft kit, we might still have some. So if you want to give us a call, you can check if we still have some and come pick it up. Otherwise, you could just print it out on your own paper. And I use cardstock, but I think you could use standard paper for this one as well. So if you did pick up our craft kit, all it was is just this template. So this one, all you need is this template. You're going to need some scissors, some glue, and then I like some tape just for an extra sturdy hold. And you'll need some colors, any kind of colors. I'm going to use crayons, but you can use markers or Sharpies or colored pencils, anything you want, or pens. What you want to do, I picked 4 colors because I'm going to do just 4 colors in all of them. But there's 4 sections that you can see on this paper. So A goes all the way across, B goes across, C, and D. What you want to do is you want to color each section, so all the A's have one pattern or color, all the B's have one pattern or color. And so let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to use my A's and I'm just going to do some big polka dots on my A's. It's fun to do patterns, but you can just fill it in with a color as well. But I definitely recommend coloring this one or just adding something. Even if you just have black and white at home, like a pen, that's fine too. Just add some stripes or some dots, just something to distinguish the sections, because that's what'll be fun when you're playing with this when it's done. So this is A, this is B. So you might see it on the pattern here. This whole section is B. So I'm just going to go to A here, and I'm going to add more of my same A pattern. So my A pattern is the dots, so don't go down at all, we're just going to go across, and you can match it up with what you see down here. So we want all our A's to be together, all our B's together, C's and D's. And I'm doing different colors, but you could do just different patterns with the same colors. Alright, so as you can see, I filled out all my A's, so they just went straight across like this. Like you can see that they shaped them here, A's. So my A's just went straight across. So now I'm going to pick another color for my B's. The A's and B's and C's and D's don't show at the same time, so you don't have to make sure that the colors look good together or anything. They're just going to be totally separate sections. So I'm going to go to B, and I'm going to do green stripes. So I'm just going to go all the way across, those stripes in there. And then this was one. As you can see in the little template, the B's are actually all diamonds, full diamonds. So I'm going to go across to get my next one. Get some more stripes in there, and then the last one is just going to be right here, all the way across. Alright, and I got my B's. So my B's are all this line here. We go to my C. You can see it does say it here, but then you just have to know to go across. So my C's, I'm going to do some lines in orange. Alright, so I've got my C's, they go all the way across like this. And I'm going to use blue for my D, and I think I'm going to draw stars. Alright, so I'm all done coloring. So I've got my A's going across, B's going across, C's go across, and D goes across. And they all have different colors and patterns. So you can actually read the instructions here, but your next step is number 2, cut along the bold lines. So you want to cut just the bold outside lines. Don't cut in at all. So just on this outside portion here. Definitely not the stripe lines, but even these inside lines, those aren't bolds. So don't cut those. Alright, so you should have it, and it should look just like this when you cut it out. So still keep those end tabs on, get the glue on there, and it should look just like this. Alright, so once you have it all cut out, what you want to do next is we're going to fold all the lines. So it says, step 3, crease dashed lines face to face. So when it says face to face, it means these front parts, so where you see your color or pattern. So all these lines that are dashed up and down, you want to fold them. So it's actually easier to go like this, because what you'll end up doing, because you can't really see the dashed lines, so what you'll end up doing is actually lining it up with the other dashed line and folding, and then you should be right on that line. So make sure you get a nice, good crease there. And then you can unfold and see that you got there. And then you want to go to the next time where it lines up like that. There's going to be another crease there. Okay, and then we're going to go again to this next one. And crease it there, and then it's a little harder the other way just because we have these tabs in the way, but you can still do it. What you want to do is line up this part, the part right at the end of the tab, so basically this line, you want it to line up with the other line. But an easier way to think about it might be to make this a point. See how they line up just like that? So make it a point, you want to line them up so that they're even like this, and then you'll be folded there. And then again, you want the points to line up together. So you can line up this point with this point. Might see points and points. And then that should be another crease. Alright, and then make sure you've got all of them. You should have a crease every 1.5 inches or so. So you can go back through and make sure they're really creased down. Push those down, push those down. Alright, and then the end tabs are included. So just do a little tiny crease there and push that down. You can open it back up. And again with the other one. Try not to miss any lines. You can always go back, but if you actually miss any lines, it's hard to get it to come together. But you can go back, so don't worry too much. Alright, once you have that one, that was step 3. Let's do step 4. Crease diagonal lines back to back. So that diagonal lines are these lines. And they actually go both ways. They go this way, and they go this way, right? And when they say back to back, just like front to front and color to color, back to back means white to white. So we're going to use the back. So let's find it. So this one's a little easier because you can see the lines. So you see the line, make sure you line up with it, and then fold it down. And then keep going. So got one here. Gonna see that line, try to line up with it there. And fold it down. But basically you want to make sure it's making this kind of tube shape now because we folded all these lines in. But remember, we had diagonals this way, which we folded. We also have diagonals this way, right? So we're going to go back the other way and fold again. So what you want to see is a crease on all of these lines. You should be able to go pretty much any direction and see that crease. A good way to test is when you do this, you should get a pretty easy way for these glue tabs to end up going in. They should end up kind of just naturally going in when you push on them, because that's what we're going to want. And you probably will also see that it's making a kind of tube shape, which is perfect because that's how we're going to end up putting it together. So if you don't see a tube shape, you probably missed a crease somewhere. So just go back and look for it. Don't worry too much. You can just fix it now. Alright, step 5, gently fold paper to match dot to dot and form a tube. Just like I was saying, we want to match this tab to go over this one. So we're not going to see those spots that say glue. We're going to cover them with the other one. So at this step, I put glue on those glue tabs. If it's really hard for you to match these up to go over this, you probably missed a crease somewhere, or you may have missed something to cut off. So just go back. If it's a little tough at this stage, just go back and check your folds. Just check your creases again. So I'm going to put glue on each of my glue tabs so that I can make that tube that it said to make. But this is where I use my tape as well because it's pretty stiff, so it resists a little bit. So I like to put an extra bit of tape on there just to really hold it. But I'll start with my glue and just put the glue on there. Put my glue on there. Put my glue on there. And it should end up like this, like a tab. But it's really not sticky. So I'm going to pull out some tape. And I'm just going to have some pieces ready. They can be really short. You really don't need a lot of tape. Just have a few ready. And I just use the tape for an extra thing. So I'm going to put that over there, and I'm just going to tape it. Because you just want that to stay. And it's tough if it doesn't stay. So any way you can get it to stay is totally fine. The tape doesn't show up too much, and it folds just fine. So don't worry about adding that on there. So I'm just adding a little extra bit of tape. Each of these little tabs where I was supposed to glue it, because the glue just doesn't stick well enough for me. If you could hold it for a while, that might work, but it's kind of hard to do that with this particular project. So I like to just add a little extra tape just to get it to stay, and that's okay. And I'm going to add a little to each of my other sides as well, just for extra stick, because you don't want it to come apart. because it's supposed to be kind of like a toy you can play with. So you don't want it to come apart, because then you'll have to go back and fix it, which is no fun. So let's just make sure it stays right now, and then we don't have to worry about it. So this is what you should have, this odd shape here. Alright, now we are on step 7, which is our last step. Add glue on end tabs, so these are our end tabs, and tuck into the open end of the tube. So this is where, it doesn't matter which way you go, but all you want to do is fold it in so that these end tabs can go in this little open space. So there should be one little open space here, and these end tabs need to just go in there. So whichever way you need to rotate it to get it in there is totally fine. So you can glue your end tabs, but honestly I feel like it doesn't work without the tape on this one. So I just tape it without gluing. So definitely try your glue if you want, but I just go straight to tape here. So I'm going to make that go in there, make it so it looks flat like this, and then I'm going to add a piece of tape. You might need some help with this one, so if you have someone with you, they can help you, but I'm doing it and I'm doing okay, so you might be able to do it yourself as well. Alright, and then make sure you go to the other side of the end tab, hold that together, and then put that on there as well. So make sure you stick your tape down real good though, because you don't want the ends to come up. But that should be it, and this is how you can play with your little toy you just made. And see, my tape comes up a little, so just kind of get used to it. It might need to be adjusted a little bit, which is okay. But it should turn, and you can just push on this inside here, and it'll turn. And if the tape comes up, don't worry about it. You can just kind of adjust it as you go. Alright. Alright, so I hope you had a good job or good time with that one. I know that one's a little bit tough. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments and I can try to help you with that one. But I hope you guys did a good job and that you're able to play with it and have a good time. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you next week. Bye.